Classical chat. Classical chat. Classical chat. Classical chat.
Drop it, it isn't worth it, and actually, you're not very good at it.
Sam, I constantly find myself astounded by the ambition of some of these online multi-track performances.
I think you're absolutely right. People are putting together phenomenal things, and we're going to hear a little bit of the 16's awesome offering a bit later on in the pod, but everything from choirs to orchestras to 1,000-person choruses are all out there being uploaded now.
Yeah, it seems like almost anything is possible.
So that set me thinking about what piece is least performable musically during lockdown. Of course, you can't have a staged production, but the musical side of things, that's what we're looking for here. Musical Mission Impossible.
Analysis. Right, so what have you come up with as your unperformable piece, Sam?
This is by no means an exhaustive or exclusive list, but here's my number one suggestion.
So we're just going to drop a clip in there, are we?
No, man, this is it.
All I'm hearing is silence.
Is that all you're hearing? Try again.
Bloody hell, it's John Cage, isn't it?
Too right. John Cage, the man with the face of a junior baseball coach and a mind that was so polymathematical we haven't got time to get into all of it. But he was a proper musicologist, artist, instrument inventor, poet, theologian and teacher. We just heard a snippet of his piece, 4 minutes, 33 seconds.
So before you tell us why you reckon it's unperformable, perhaps you could expand on the oral tundra we just encountered there.
Of course, written in 1952, a lot of people mistake 433 for a silence. It's absolutely not.
Even though it might at first appear to be silence.
It's scored for any instruments or combination of instruments, and Cage instructs the performers not to play their instruments for the entire duration of the piece, throughout 3 movements. And it's not silence. It's not the sound of silence. This is the sound of silence. Nor is it the first time Cage had experimented with performative silence. It had been on his mind for a while. In fact, it's rumoured that the prize-winning speech he gave at the Hollywood Bowl 30 years prior to 433, whilst he was still in high school, was about America having a national day of silence.
How does a composer experiment with a performative silence then?
Well, there have always been silences in music. That crackling frisson before a piece starts, which is actually written down into some scores.
The first thing written in Beethoven 5 is the rest before da-da-da.
Well, absolutely. Or mid-phrase. Rests and silences can be just as powerful, like the bit on a roller coaster where your stomach jumps. Is just exactly like the opening of Brahms 3. Ba-da, ba-ba-da.
Yeah, or the magic moment at the end of a piece before the audience claps.
Those shared silences between events were already in the music. Cage started stretching these silences in pieces like Waiting, a piano miniature, which has a short ostinato, then a huge gap of silence, then the ostinato again. Or his duet for 2 flutes, which opens with 22 bars rest for both players.
So 433 doesn't exactly come out of nowhere then?
Absolutely not, although it seems to take quite a lot of critics by surprise at the time.
Because they thought it was just silence, presumably.
And it's not. The piece consists of the sounds of the environment that the listeners hear whilst it is performed. Audience members shuffling, chairs creaking, wind blowing.
So that means every performance is different.
There's always an element of chance.
A wheel of fortune.
Hello and welcome back to Oral Environment of Fortune. Our contestant today is young Timothy Fisher. Say hello, Tim.
Hello.
Before the break, he'd managed to assemble a nice soundscape of one small dog barking, an intermittent pneumatic drill, and a smattering of alpine horns. Let's hear it now. Chance plays a huge part in Cage's composition. That's what he intended. And it's thanks to the I Ching. The I Ching is an ancient Chinese decision-making tool, and that, along with a whole heap of Zen Buddhism, led to Cage diminishing the input of the composer or author, and instead creating happenings like 433.
Happenings?
They're called that because they have to be happening. They can't be predictable, can't be scripted or authored, and can't be totally pre-recorded. They have to be happening right there and then, to try and pull people into the present. It has to be a simultaneous sharing of time and space.
A mass gathering, you could say.
Exactly. 433 was such a game changer because it questioned the very premise of composition and musicianship. It made audiences question what they were there to do. Is witnessing a performance participating in it? Is the music just the organised sound? For me, 4 minutes 33 is a love letter to live music making, to the energy that is shared by an audience and performers in a space together. It exposes the power of the performative silence and draws us all into that occasionally uncomfortable space of the shared present moment. As clever as Zoom is, and as wonderful as everyone's musical studio wizardry is these days, it can't replace that feeling of actually being there together. 433 is a piece that is totally unperformable in lockdown and helps us realise the value of live music. As much as these fab bedroom recordings are a great way to stay in touch and lift people's spirits, there will inevitably be something missing. I think we all knew that. But 433 is a piece that can remind us that we mustn't let live music disappear. Sharing a present, a happening between audience and performers is something magic, something unpredictable, something uncontrollable, and something we'll need to support at the moment if we have hopes of it returning in the future.